Hey guys, so OpenAI is apparently starting to target Hollywood with an AI powered animated film called Critterz. And this is OpenAI's attempt at trying to convince wary film executives that AI is the future and they need to embrace it. But is this really all it's cracked up to be? Let's get right into it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with this article by The Verge. It kind of already has a lot of the talking points that I brought up originally, and admittedly, I'm just going to be completely honest with you, this is kind of a short article. There's a little bit more information in the Wall Street Journal article, but, actually, no, never mind. I guess I'll read this article through. It was originally paywalled, but, I guess it's not anymore. Alright, slight detour. Long story short, OpenAI wants to prove that generative AI will make movies faster and cheaper than Hollywood does today. OpenAI is trying to demonstrate this with a film called Critterz, with a Z, and it's a basic, generic animated film about forest creatures who go on an adventure after their village is disrupted by a stranger. Basically, this has already been made as a short, namely with DALL-E 2. So what they did is they used DALL-E 2 to generate out each frame of the video, and then they made a remastered version with Sora. But this was always kind of an animated short, and now they're making a whole feature film with it. First of all, I do want to say that's kind of impressive that they made a animated short that's about 5 minutes in total length, just by using DALL-E 2. That is pretty impressive. I'll give credit where it is most certainly due, because DALL-E 2 is an image generator, not a video generator. So that means they had to generate out each frame of the short using DALL-E 2, which is quite impressive. Now, DALL-E 2, for the time anyways, was a pretty good model, and it still is a pretty good model even today, as far as image generation goes, but this was the first attempt at making a short, like, actual film with it, and it worked out about as okay as it can get. It's not perfect, but, you know, it's not insanely engaging, especially when you realize that a lot of the scenes are kind of reused over and over again, and it's mostly just characters talking to the camera. It kind of feels like one of those, like, prescription drug commercials where it's like, I tried Ozempic and it helped me insanely well, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of feels like a testimonial than an actual short, but for all it's worth, it's impressive-ish. So, alright, that's pretty interesting, but now they want to make a feature-length version of the film, and they want to debut it at the Cannes Film Festival in May. And what they're going to do is they're going to spend $30 million, which is far less than what most animated films typically cost. They plan to cast human actors for the voices and hire artists to draw sketches that are fed into OpenAI's tools, including GPT-5 and image-generating models. And they're also going to have a whole script written for it, and it's going to start casting in a few weeks. So it's going to be a OpenAI funded, more so a OpenAI backed, not necessarily funded. It is funded by a company in Paris that is a sort of film studio, but OpenAI is betting on this film being successful because it will show that AI can deliver content strong enough for the big screen. And I don't know, it's definitely, as this article likes to point out, a risky bet. and it is unclear whether audiences are already reluctant to go to the movie theater will pay to see it, especially because it is an AI generated work. And it also can't easily be copyrighted. Copyright law kind of makes it a little bit difficult. So there are some issues that need to be kept in mind, especially when you look at the original short film and the way it kind of works. Like, it's just, you can kind of tell it's just characters talking at the screen. It's not really compelling, I should say. It kind of feels more like a call in Microsoft Teams, or like a meeting or something. Maybe you're on Zoom and this is like the webcam of everybody and it just keeps switching as the different people keep talking. Like, it doesn't feel like a movie, or even really a short film for that matter, just due to the way it's paced and laid out. But it still is interesting, and apparently they want to make a full feature-length film out of it. Now, whether or not this will actually have any real amount of success is to be determined, and the likely answer is maybe not, especially if they keep it up with this way of having scenes laid out, because it just doesn't feel compelling, really, just to be completely honest with you. At least in my opinion, the way this is laid out just isn't that good. So if they keep this up, I don't really expect that this movie is going to do too well. But if they do it in a different way and, actually try to make this like a proper film, then, you know what? Sure, this could be interesting. But I feel like if they don't do it right, this might end up becoming a sort of like so bad it's good film. And how audiences perceive so bad it's good films is typically one of, it generates a lot of profit, but on the actual premise of it being a respected film, that's just not the case. For example, there was a movie that Amazon kind of made and then delayed and then delayed and then delayed again, and then just recently released this year, War of the Worlds, starring the rapper Ice Cube, and it was one of the worst movies this year, I think, or one of the worst movies just ever in general. It was really, really bad. However, the thing is even considering this, it did generate a lot of money, and I guess it kind of stopped Amazon from having to take a loss on the film, and it generated them a lot of revenue, and people hate watching it. However, the issue is that OpenAI is betting on this not being a bad movie. OpenAI is betting on this being an actually, like, respected piece of art. So if it turns out to be one of those films, then OpenAI is going to have quite a problem. The Paris AI lab studio people, they'll probably break even on it, or maybe they'll actually get some revenue out of it, and even then they're not dumping a whole lot of money in on this. So for the studio, it's not that risky of a bet. They're not spending nearly as much as most animated films are spent on. They're not spending that much money, but OpenAI is making an incredibly risky bet allowing them to do this, because they're banking on the idea that this is going to work out really well, because they're targeting big Hollywood. So it's a risky move. So I hope, I don't know, I guess we'll see what happens. And we'll see whether or not it's actually any good. This is supposed to be done in 9 months, so I'm sure we'll see it sometime next year, maybe like mid next year. So, mid next year, I'll make another video, we'll talk about it. But I don't know, this is just, it's weird, and I don't know what's gonna happen. that is about it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care, you guys, and remember, as always, to stay safe out there.